Hey there, I'm going to show you guys how to set up the calendar in Illustrator real quick so that it'll look like this. Um, you're going to go to File New, and you're going to go to Print, and then you're going to change from points to inches. Always change from points to inches, and make sure that your artboard is horizontal, not vertical. So we're going to click this. And then we need 25 artboards. So 25 artboards. I'm going to press create. From here, you're going to go to not properties. I lied. We are going to actually make sure we're in the right view because we're not in the right view right now. So I'm going to click up here in the top right corner, switch workspace, and then instead of getting started or essentials, we're going to go to typography because there's way more stuff. See how a bunch of stuff popped up over here and over here, so we've got more things going on now. So I'm going to click here, and under artboards right here, there's these little zigzag arrows. Rearrange, I'm going to click that. You want to do something even. So you could do 2, you could do 4. I tend to like 4 because it'll be columns of 4 and a little bit of space in between. So I'm going to say OK. So here's my artboards. I like them that way because then I can put like January, January, February, February, March, March, April, April, right? And then work through, and then this will be my cover. So we've got our artboards. Now we need to put guides on. Okay, so our guides, we got to have rulers on. So Control R will get your rulers on there. And then I'm going to click up here. I'm going to press Control 0. Control 0 makes it so that I can see the entire artboard and only that artboard. From here, I'm going to grab, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag down, and we want 1/4 of an inch. So I'm looking over here on the left. There's 1/2 inch, there's inch, so in between 1/2 inch and 0, that's 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to drag this one down, and I have a little clock in the way, so I can't see it. There we go. So I'm going to bring this here. You can also click it and then arrow it. Sometimes I find that easier to get it exactly where I want it to be. There we go. And then my left to rights. So I'm going to come here. And now I'm looking at the top up here to make sure I'm at 1/4 of an inch. So in between 0 and 1/2 is 1/4. Over here, 1/4 of an inch. In between 11 and 1/2. So I'm going to go there. And you'll notice that as I do this, it goes the whole way across and it goes the whole way down. So basically I'm going to do the same thing, the left to rights on all 4 of these, and then they'll go all the way to the bottom, and then I will do the top and bottoms on all of the rows, and then they'll do that. Now if I were to go in and do all of this and then come in and change my artboards to say 6 and I press OK, you can see none of my things are right anymore. So make sure that you have it set up how you want it to be before you do that so that you don't have to reset everything. Okay, I'm going to show you one more either here or here just so that you can see that they go all the way through. Control 0. So I'm going to bring this. I'm going to look again on my left hand side at my ruler, 1/4 of an inch. Bring it down. Oh, my thing's in the way again. I can't see. My little timer telling me how long my video is. I'm just arrowing down. So there's that. So you can see again that those go all the way across. So you're going to do that until you end up with this. Okay. Now what you can do is you can do a couple of things. So I'm going to do my out on this. You can do a couple of things. So these are all guides. If you go to layers, these are your guides. You can just click right here next to the eyeball and lock all of those. Or, I'm going to unlock them. I can just make a new layer down here at the bottom, right? New layer. And then I'll just lock, that will be my guides layer. And then everything else I make is, as long as I'm clicked on this as blue, everything else I make will be made on here. Okay, which is how I did it on this one, is I just made a second layer. You can do it either way. It doesn't matter. I like all the guides at the bottom because once they're set, I don't want to have to screw with them again. So I always lock them. So Either way works for me. If you want to lock it in and work everything in layer 1, you can totally do that. But I think it's easy just to make a whole new layer. And then as long as I'm clicked here, then everything I do now will be on this layer. Oh, the other thing I forgot to show you. Sorry, I just saw it right here. You also want to add a guide, so I'm going to unlock this layer and I'm going to go back to it, click it, and so it's blue. I'm going to zoom in, Control 0. So you're going to want to do this on all of the things. So I'm going to go an inch. Now when I say an inch, I want an inch guide, but if I'm already down 1/4 of an inch, that means I need to go to 1 1/4. So just above 1 1/2, just below 1, there's an inch. That is going to be where I'm going to be able to put my month. So it'll say January there, or February, or whatever. It'll say that month. Okay, so you're going to want to go in and do those as well before you go ahead and lock your layer. I mean, you can relock it, no biggie, whatever. So you'll see if I zoom in, I'm just going to zoom in with the plus real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So here I have where I can type in the month, the month, the month. Okay, so that's what you're going to do on each of those as well. So don't forget to do those. All right, from here, so 25 pages, landscape, 1/2 inch guides. Why do I say 1/2 inch guides? Now I'm wondering if I really wanted a 1/2 inch, not 1/4 of an inch. We will find out in a second, huh? When I get on with the rest of my notes. Usually it's 1/4 of an inch, so I'm not sure why I put a 1/2. It could have something to do with the boxes that we're going to make in a second. So view the columns, check in my notes to make sure I'm telling you everything. 1 inch guide for the month title. All right, so now we're at the boxes. So I'm just going to come here. You can come through and go, okay, I'm going to have this January. I'm going to have this February. Right, you can come through and do that as well. Those are really small. Okay, so you can come through and do that just so that you know, like, we'll just say 72. So that way you know what you're going to be working where, okay? So totally up to you if you want to do that. But I know that I'm going to put the picture for January here, the picture for February here, and this is the one I'm going to work on. So I'm going to press Control 0 on the second one. And now I'm going to make my boxes. So I'm going to come over to my box tool, and I'm going to click on it. Then I'm going to click on my page. Now the size I want for the dates are 1.424 wide by 1.2 high. Okay, and I don't want it black. I want it the other way around. So the quickest way to do that is to just come over here on the left toolbar, click the little arrows, and now it's got no fill and a black border. Okay. Then I'm going to click again. I'm going to make another set of boxes that are 1.424 by 0.5. Okay. So now I have this box. So what I'm going to do is this is going to be stacked here. Okay. And then I'm going to take both of those. So I just selected them. I'm going to click. I'm going to hold the Alt key and I'm going to hold the Shift key and I'm going to slide. Doing this with a trackpad is tricky. And then I'm going to lift up my clicker. I'm going to select all of these. I'm used to a mouse. I'm going to Alt, Shift, slide. Lift up on my clicker before I lift up on Alt. I'm going to do it again. Okay, and then I need 7 days for the month or for the week. So I'm going to go here. And Alt click slide. Yep, that's why I made him 1/2 inch right there, because it doesn't quite fit. So all of that fun stuff that I showed you about 1/4 inch, I lied, it's 1/2 inch. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to unclick that, and then I'm going to take this to 1/2 inch. So if I arrow this over to 1/2 inch, and I arrow this back to 1/2 inch, and I arrow this and this, I'm going to select both. I'm going to hold Shift and select both of them. And then I'm going to arrow both of them down to 1/2 inch. And I'm going to arrow this one up to 1/2 inch, if I could see. Oh, I see it. All right. So that is what's going to make that fit. So all of these There they are. I'm going to relock that layer. Okay, so 1/2 inch, not 1/4 inch. Sorry about that. I will put that in my notes, but I'm not going to remake the video for that. Just know that that's what it is. Okay, I'm going to hold the shift key. I'm going to slide this up to here. Now I have my weeks. I can take this and I can hold my shift key and my alt key, and I'm going to slide it down as I click. Again. I just did one little arrow. That's how I fixed that because it looked weird. See how it looks like extra thick there? If I just pressed my little down arrow button one time, and that made it good. Okay, so I got all of these. I'm going to make them up so that they're right at my borders. And that's how that's all set up. Now, you can come through and put your days of the week. So, whoa, Sunday. I do not want it that big. However you want, and you can choose the font and do all the fun stuff so you can make it cool. And then I'm just going to go like this. And then I'm going to put mun. And I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to put 2s. You guys know what I'm doing, right? I'm holding the alt and that's the duplicate is the alt, right? I could also just click. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oops, somehow I put on my cap lock. You can do that if you want. It's your design, whatever you want. Now, I want all my boxes. I'm going to just select my boxes. I'm going to group them. Press delete, undo. I'm going to group them. Control G groups them. So that way I can take just these words now. And I'm going to hold shift and unselect this. So there's all my words. I can align them so that they're aligned to their bottoms. No, I want tops. Because sometimes when there's like a little weird things, then it's weird. So I just do the tops. Okay, so now they're all aligned to the tops. So if I hold my shift and slide it over, it doesn't fit though. So I know my font size is too big because that one doesn't fit. There are a couple of little things you could do. Oops, no stickies. Doing this looks kind of poopy. I don't like that. There is this thing over in properties. Oh, I gotta move this out of the way, sorry. I don't know if you can see it on your screen or not. This will actually, do you guys see it moving as I push down on this button? It'll actually move them closer together. Now, I obviously don't want them that close. That's a little weird. But I can stretch it out. And then that's not too bad because it's not distorted then. When you squish things, it makes them distorted, right? And then you can center things in the boxes, and then your numbers, you would basically do the same thing. So you can decide where you want it to go in the box. You could stick it down here in the corner and be like, it's the first. It's the second. It's the third, right? And then you line those up however it is that they need to go. So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Not a lot of weeks actually do what I just did, but we're going to do it anyway. So I select those and I unselect my box. You could actually lock if you wanted to. I could take this layer with this group. It's red right here, and I could actually lock that layer. That might actually just be easier. So I'm going to lock that layer. Now when I come through here, I can do align, and I can align them at the top again. Once I get the ones that go this way, so say I go like this, and I make this into an 8. This into a 9, right? And you're going to go through and you're going to do all of these things. You can actually take these and line them up as well. So you can, you know, whatever you need to do. So you can just do a line to the center this way will work as well. Okay. So you can have these in the bottom corner,